quality assurance. So I worked both in manual and automation all these years. That's pretty much my experience. So let's have a short round of introductions from you as well, so everyone will understand the expectation from you from this training, and along with it, like what you're currently doing. Yeah, that will be helpful. So let's start with Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. This is Preeti.
Yeah, Preeti, go ahead. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hey, hi. I am basically from non-IT background. I finished my bachelor's in medicine from India before 10 years, and then I worked in New Jersey for 2-3 years in medical background, and then now I took break for kids. Now I started back my career, so I wanted to give my best in IT field.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Preeti.
Thank you.
And then Aman. Hi, Aman. Or Falguni.
Yeah, hi, my name is Falguni. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. I am in medical background. I work at the hospital from like last 3-4 years. But I want to try IT. I want to go in IT actually. Very interested in it. So I thought, I'm from non-IT background, so quality assurance would be the best thing to start. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Falguni.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And then BK Dua?
Yeah, this is BK here. My name is Balwinder. I was working as a business analyst in a healthcare domain, but presently I'm not working. I've just a few months back I delivered a baby, so I was taking a break. I've tried as a business analyst. I took the training, and now I want to go ahead with QA. So that's the reason I'm here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, BK. And then is Aman or Ashley here? Okay, yeah. Let's start with our session today. So today's agenda would be letting you guys understand the focus of a training plan on quality assurance. Like that involves complete QA process, including all the manual testing activities, and also along with that test automation activities involved in every organization. And if we see the tools, we'll be covering one test management tool by HP, that is HP Application Lifecycle Management Tool, or its old version is called HP Quality Center. We'll be covering that in detail in our sessions. And the other tool is test automation tool by Smart Bear product, that is Test Complete tool. This is used for automation of the testing, and that we'll be covering in detail as well. And I'll be taking this course based on the ISTQB standards. ISTQB is the foundation level certification for testing. So after this training, I'm pretty sure that you guys can easily take this certification. Yeah. And again, like my everyday class focus would be, I'll be discussing the technical testing concepts and then non-technical testing concepts as well, like how to write emails, how to communicate with the development team and management, and like how to schedule and organize meetings. All these also will be discussed along with the testing terminology you should be understanding before joining your career as a QA person. These are as important as your knowledge in technical testing concepts. So we'll be covering non-technical aspects in every class for some time. what are the important things will be identified, and those things will be covered. Along with that, we'll also take some things like which could be possibly asked based on that class's curriculum. So that questions also will be discussing in each session. This is pretty much the focus of the class and our training plan. So let's start our today's session. Let's start with the understanding of what is testing. If we see the formal definition, testing is a process which is used to identify the correctness, completeness, and quality of the software application or system. It is also done in order to find out the defects or bugs in the software application so that they can be fixed before software is released into the market. So this is the formal definition of testing. Let's understand it more clearly by comparing it with a real-life example so that it will be easier for everyone to understand. Testing will be performed by all of us in our every day-to-day life in many activities. Testing. One such example will be like if we consider a person who wants to apply for a driving license. So what the whole process is a formalized and standard process which involves he has to take the written test and he has to clear it. Then he has to take the road test which involves certain standards to be followed.
Sorry, Vidya, sorry I'm disturbing you, but can everybody please mute your phone if you're not talking, because there's a lot of disturbance. I cannot hear clearly. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to repeat anything? Are you with me?
Yeah, it's just that we can. I think I can hear other noises as well. So that's the reason I said if everybody can mute their phone.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So, let's continue with our driving test analogy for testing. So, as we discussed, the examiner for the road test, let's say once the has cleared the written test, he'll be taken to the road test. So, the examiner will come up with a certain defined procedure to conduct the test. He'll be taking the participant to predefined or pre-planned road which will cover all the signs, all the required signs and all the different directions which he'll be able to test the speed limits. Such road will be identified and the participant will be taken through that road. And once the process is completed, along with that, while in this process, the examiner will note each and every mistake committed by the participant. He'll make note of all the mistakes, how simple it might be. And once the testing is done, he'll be letting the participant know about all the mistakes he committed. So that, and see, if it is one critical mistake, it's gone case and he'll not be getting the license. But if it is a couple of simple mistakes, there is a possibility that he'll be getting the license, because it all depends on the confidence built on the participant by the examiner. So examiner is trying to assess the quality, driving quality of the participant in a certain standard and a predefined procedural manner. So if we see all this driving test procedure is not a simple activity, it's a process. So this is similar to the software testing. Software testing also acts in the same way as this driving test. So even software testing is not a one-time activity. It is a process which involves so many standards. And the main objective of software testing is to assess the quality of the software that is being released to the market. So this participant is being tested thoroughly before he being provided with the driving license and letting him drive on the roads. In a similar way, software testing is the process used to assess the quality, correctness, and completeness of the software. And so that this will be helpful because the application, the defects found in the application will be corrected before it is being released into the market. This is very much required. Now let's see, like, why is testing necessary? Testing is completely necessary because just imagine providing driving license to everyone who ever applied. Just imagine the potential loss it might cause to the society. They can simply meet with the accidents every now and then, and it leads to the loss of the life. And same thing is true with the software defects as well. Some defects could be very simple, like typos and all, but some defects could cause same like loss of life or huge financial loss. Some of such examples are listed, like a small software defect in an airplane software led to an death of 264 people. This happened in China. And one small defect in some banking software caused like 823 customers' accounts being getting credited with $920 million. So that's a huge money. And again, like NASA, a prestigious space mission, Mariner 1 mission, they have conducted one operation wherein the rocket lifted off into the space, but they have to destruct their own operation after 293 seconds when they realize that it is going into the it is diverted its direction. It is not going into the expected direction. So it caused them a loss of millions of dollars. That's a lot of money. So I want to make the point that testing has the potential of causing huge financial loss along with and even loss of life as well in certain cases. So this shows the importance of testing in industries. Now let's see some of the testing principles. These are the basic testing principles which everyone should be aware of when joining into quality assurance industry. The first principle is testing shows presence of defects. What that says is, yeah, you have been appointed or recruited to test the application, to test certain application of certain industry, let be banking, insurance, whatever industry. So you have tested the application and found out some defects, but you cannot say that software is completely defect free after you have performed the testing. That can never gonna happen. That's what the main concept of this principle is. Testing shows the presence of defects. Yeah, it will show that these defects are present in the software, but that doesn't mean that the software doesn't have any more defects. So it cannot prove that there are no defects. It just reduces the probability of undiscovered defects, but it will not remove the probability completely. So then it could be possible that more defects are left with the software. This is because of our next principle, which says exhaustive testing is impossible. This is very true with many applications, not just many, with any application this is true. Exhaustive testing is impractical, not feasible. Because let's take for an example, let's consider a small input field in any certain website, which takes a like 1-digit value as an input. If you have to test that particular field, how many test cases you have to write? Like, yeah, it's 1 digit, so yeah, 10 test cases we have to test it with a 0, with a 1, and so on with a 9. That comes around 10 test cases. Along with that, we also need to ensure that it is giving proper error messages when we have given like alphabets in place of integers. So we have to test it with 26 alphabets, all uppercase, lowercase, and what all are other special symbols. So covering positive and negative cases, it will be so many test cases for a simple input field with a single digit value. Now just imagine a software form of a particular website having like 20 fields, with each input field taking a value of 5-digit value. Now just imagine the permutations or combinations of inputs we have to try to test all the fields with all the combinations of the inputs. So that is really not practical. This is just hypothetical case, but more worse cases will be there, more complex cases will be there, which will need number of test cases. So that is not possible. So in such cases, we have to analyze the risks. What part of the software will be risky, and the impact of the risk to the organization should be analyzed, and we should focus our testing onto that particular modules. But how can you analyze the risky parts of the software? That is a big question. And then that takes us to our next principle, defect clustering. What this principle says is that one small module of the code contains most number of defects. This is always possible because in some scenarios, like based on the complexity of the application, if you consider one software, one particular area is very difficult to code. So it is definitely possible that developers will make mistakes while coding that part because it is complex. So such modules should be identified by the testers based on the experience, and more testing should be focused in such areas. But if you see our next principle, that says pesticide paradox, what that says is, yeah, we have identified certain module which is very risky, and if you prepare some set of test cases and repeat the same set of test cases over and over, they're not going to help you anymore. Yeah, they'll be initially helpful. They'll uncover the defects present in that particular area with the set we have prepared, with the test set we have prepared. But once they've uncovered the defects they could uncover, what else is left? But if we keep on running the same test cases, that will not be helpful any further. So to avoid that, our test cases should be revisited every now and then and modified according to the modifications to the software. And the next principle is absence of errors fallacy. So this says that, yeah, we have tested thoroughly our application, we have defined our test cases like covering all parts of the software and every possible or feasible combination. But again, after the testing also, we cannot say that software is perfect and usable. The basic thing is the software should meet the user's needs. The software should have been built for some expectation by the user. But yeah, we have tested it, but it is not working as expected. See, this is possible because when requirements will be defined initially based on what the product will be built and based on what we will be testing the application. So what if the requirements are only incorrectly defined? Someone has understood the requirements unclearly and they have defined them wrong. So the system will be built wrong. I mean, it don't serve the purpose of the users. So this principle says that even though we have tested completely, the first thing is it should be usable by the users. It should meet the expectations of the users. And then, so this is possible.
Sorry, I have a question. Can you go to the back slide, please? This pesticide paradox, can you please repeat that? Why do you say that there will be repetition of set of tests? I mean, I did not get that.
Okay, that will be knowing when we understand the concept of regression testing. But yeah, I'll just brief you as you asked here. See, if we see the regression testing and test automation, we'll be hearing so often, right, these days. While we'll go for automation, we will test a particular part of the software, but Yeah, in the next version, let's take for example this Samsung phone has some software, right? Android version. This Android will be 1.0 version is released, and we have developed some set of test cases to test the software. So we have some certain tests. And then developers have added some more functionality and developed Android 2.0 version. So we have to test the software again, right? With the new additions might have caused some problems in the old functionality as well. So we have to repeat the test again to ensure that this new additions does not impact any old functionality. This is the concept of regression testing. And for the regression testing, we have to repeat the test cases, same set of test cases on particular software. So, while repeating such test cases as well, this principle says that we should not blindly repeat them. We should revisit them and change them as necessary based on the new modifications done to the software. So, that is the whole concept of this pesticide paradox principle.
Okay, got you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So, now, any other questions? Okay, all right. Then we'll move on to the next principle. Like as we discussed, absence of errors fallacy, right? This principle says that, yeah, requirement should be clearly defined initially. So if how much ever testing you have done, that doesn't say that system is perfectly usable based on the user's needs. So to avoid such problems, the problems in the requirements phases, our next principle helps, which says that early testing. So this says that testing should be performed as early as possible in the cycle. The life cycle I'll be explaining in the next slide, but based on this principle, what it says is we should not wait till the end when the software product is built and then test it. Then we have seen the problem just now, right? The requirements, if they are not clearly defined, and we'll be testing our product based on the requirements, so we'll be facing issues then. So this principle says testing should be conducted as early as possible. So, and the next principle is testing is context dependent. This is obviously like we have to frame our test policies and test plans and test cases based on the context of the software. We cannot test e-commerce site and application like safety critical application in the same way. Like safety critical applications main objective would be security. So we should focus our testing mainly on the security aspect of the application rather than simple misspellings in the content. But if coming to e-commerce, we have to take care of the typos as well. What if some value of some product is given as $100, whereas the original price is $1,000? That will cost a lot to the company. So based on the context of our software, the business context will decide the testing focus. So these are all the testing principles. They should be like completely understood. So anyone has any questions in what we have discussed till now? All the testing principles are clear to everyone? Okay, then we'll proceed with the next with the software development life cycle. Yeah, there I mentioned SDLC. That means software development life cycle. From the name, right, we can understand, right, we're going to discuss all the activities involved in the software development process. That defines the life cycle of it. The next bit is STLC, software test life cycle. The first one, STLC, is the whole life cycle of the project, but STLC is the testing life cycle, software test life cycle. There we'll discuss all the phases involved in testing of a particular project. So now first discuss the phases involved in SDLC. Any software development is not a simple activity. Again, it is a complete process which involves so many phases. The first phase would be gathering the requirements collecting, gathering them from the clients. Yeah, before this, I'll be just explaining the roles involved in any organization. Like as we know, like there'll be lot of roles in any IT industry, but I'll limit and discuss with you like few roles which will be useful for our discussion. There'll be mainly the project manager. Any project any project will be assigned with a project manager who will be taking care of all the planning activities right from the beginning to the closure activities completely, like resource management, everything will be taken care by the project manager. Then the business analyst. Business analyst is responsible for collecting the requirements from the clients and communicating them to others in the project. The others will be like development and testing teams. Development team's responsibility is to develop the software, design it first and develop it as per the requirements, and the testing team has to ensure the quality of the application. So, if we now see the phases involved in software development process, the first phase will be the requirements gathering. Requirements gathering, this will be done by the mostly in many of the companies the business analysts, but yeah, all other stakeholders will be involved in certain companies. So once the requirements are gathered from the client, they should be analyzed and documented in a proper manner following the standards or templates of that particular company. So once the requirements are documented, they'll be passed on to the further team members. So the development team will take them and start the design of the application based on the requirements. So the business people, based on the users' feedback, yeah, they will think that yeah, we will design a new product, new website which looks like this, and all the details will be captured in the requirements document. That will be used by the development team to come up with design, how the every screen of the application, how it should look like, and how it should perform. Everything will be designed by the development team and deliver the design documents. Based on the design documents, again development team will build the software. Build is nothing but they'll code it. They will develop the software in the respective technology like Java, .NET, whatever. And then it comes to the built product will be given to the testing team. They again follow certain process which we'll be discussing in detail as part of SDLC. So they will follow that process. They will test the product, and once testing is done and they sign off the product that it is, yeah, again they can never say that the software is working completely fine. They can just say that yes, what all planned testing is completed. And then they'll pass it on to the management will release the product into the market. That's nothing but the customers who purchase the software will deploy it in their respective environment. And from then on, the maintenance phase will be carried out, which will be taking care of any issues with the product once it is in operation. So these are all the phases involved in software development. One software is being developed, a simple activity. It has to go through all these phases and it takes a lot of time depending on the size of the project. Now let's see the different activities involved in testing a particular project. Now if we see, testing is just one phase of complete software development life cycle. But again, this testing has so many phases involved within itself. So the phases of testing. So any questions before proceeding with SDLC? SDLC, anyone has any questions with SDLC?
Yeah, this is Balwinder here again, sorry.
Yeah.
I have a question. When you say in SDLC, as what you explained, that business analysts write the requirement and then they explain these requirements to the developers and, they start designing. So my question in SDLC, when you say all this is done, so when we do QA training or being a tester, right?
Yeah.
Where is your presence required? So when I say your presence required, that means when the business analyst is explaining the requirements to the developers, are you being a tester are present there or no?
Yeah, this is a good question actually. We have different test methodologies which we'll be discussing in detail in our training. Those are like waterfall model, agile model, V model, different test methodologies. When I say test methodology, it's just saying how all the phases we discussed as part of SDLC will be carried out, in what order they'll be carried out. Whole that process defines the test methodology. So as you asked, where we testing people will come in picture, right? So in some methodology, which is like very old and traditional methodology, BA will be discussing and communicating the requirements to development. Only testing people will come only after the product is developed. But if you take the other methodology, which is Agile and V model, testers also will testing activities will be started from the beginning itself, even from the requirements gathering. In some methodologies, which is like pretty common these days, agile methodology and V methodologies, which is followed by many companies, testing starts parallelly with the development and even before that. So this requirements gathering phase itself, everyone will be involved. Even development people, testing people will be involved along with BA. They will be communicating like in the discussions or meetings organized to collect the requirements. Testers also will be part of such discussions.
Okay, I got you, because I understand what is waterfall and what is agile. So I can very well understand when you say tester is going to get involved in agile before compared to waterfall. So my second question is, if you say that, for example, I take the case of agile methodology.
Okay.
So when the testers are in the call of requirement gathering sessions, so do they start documenting anything or no? When the developer do their work and then the tester work actually gets started, or do they have to document something?
Yeah, they need not document anything as such, but they have to, first thing is their inputs are valuable. They'll be providing inputs, but the most important activity testers has to do is understanding the requirements from them itself. Analyzing the requirements, that's the main activity of testers. They don't need to document anything, but at the same time, they will not wait till the development has done their work. So they'll be analyzing the requirements in the beginning itself, and they will start test planning parallel to design phase of SDLC. While development is designing the application, we testers will analyze, understand the requirements, and start our planning phase, test planning.
Okay. Okay, I got you. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any more questions? Okay, yeah. Then we'll proceed with the ST. Yeah. Then we'll proceed with different phases of STLC, software test lifecycle. So here we're discussing about the phases involved in testing a particular project. As I just said about the different methodologies, the order and that all depends on the methodology being implemented in that particular company. But any methodology they follow, all these phases are mandatory. I mean, they'll be followed. It's good to follow, and it will be followed as a standard by any organization. So those phases, so the first phase will be the requirement analysis phase. It's nothing but understanding the requirements completely. And then start test planning. This is the high level planning activity which will be mostly done by the test manager or senior people in the testing team. They will plan the complete testing activity right from including the resources, how many people they have, what is the schedule of the project, how many days it will take, and do they have enough skilled people? Do they have to recruit few more? Do they have all the software and hardware infrastructure available to carry out this testing activity? Like all these questions will be answered in the test plan document. And what is the main thing is like what is the scope of the project testing and what is the out of scope of the testing. So everything will be documented here in this test plan document, which will be developed in the test planning phase. Once this planning document is signed off and reviewed by the clients and everyone accepts it, then test designing phase starts, wherein we actually write test cases for each and every functionality defined in the requirements and functional spec documents. So here we will clearly and in detail develop test cases for everything. So once we have designed our test cases, the main activities like test environment set. Before actually test execution starts itself, we have to set up everything. All our environment should be in place and be ready to start our execution. Then actual execution happens. This execution could be either manual or automation. That will be automation part we'll be discussing in the later and in this training course. And once the execution is done, then if they found any defects, they'll be like reporting those defects based on the tool or standards followed by those particular companies. And once then the defect life cycle follows, like which explains what all the activities or phases one defect goes through when one particular defect has been raised. So once all the defects are fixed and product is tested again based on the fixed defects, then the test closure activities will be taking place, like preparing the reports and consolidating them and sending them to the management. Like metrics will be collected, who all has tested what, who all has prepared what test cases, how many test cases, all these metrics will be reported, consolidated and reported, and they'll be sent to the management. All these phases will be discussed in detail in our training course. I'm just giving the high level overview. So yeah, any questions in STLC? All right, then we'll proceed with our next topic, that is the process. And still now I'm discussing, it is nothing but the phases defined in STLC. All these activities will be conducted as part of testing. Like the first thing will be the effort estimation. Once we have got some project for testing, the first thing managers and even the testers has to do is estimate the effort. Estimate the effort means estimate the time that will be taking, that they'll be taking to execute that testing. So once they have decided upon the time frames and agreed upon by everyone, then the test plan document, as we discussed till now, test plan, once it is done, test cases will be developed and environment will be set up, and then test execution. One more important thing to be noted here is, with all the phases, reviews are implicit. Review process. Review is nothing but someone else looking at a document and saying that it is okay. So right from the beginning, even the effort estimation, we have estimated some effort, but that will be reviewed by our manager and even the client, saying that yeah, this estimate is fine for us. Once that is done, then only the next phase will be started. Let it be test plan. Test plan and strategy are a little bit different, but most of the companies like follow these terms interchangeably. Once the test plan is decided and signed off, then test cases will be started. Once it is, test cases will be started. So along with that, in parallelly, test environment will be made ready. So this is the test process. Even all these documents, so like test plan, test cases, how they have to be written, or what are the sections, what are the different templates for test plans and test cases, each document will be discussed in detail in our training course. And then now let's see test designing and testing techniques. Here I've listed like static and dynamic testing. Static testing is nothing but whatever till now I said reviews. Static testing is testing the product without actually executing anything. So that is static testing. Finding defects in the documents, reviewing the documents and finding defects in that is called static testing. Dynamic testing is nothing but actual testing, which we discussed till now, all the phases that will be part of the dynamic testing. Again, dynamic testing will have like test designing. You have to design test cases, right? There are so many techniques, predefined and standard techniques are defined for developing test cases in an efficient manner. So all those designing techniques will be discussed in our training plan.
Sorry, I have a question. If you can go to the back slide, please.
Sure. Yeah.
As a tester, what documents do you create when you say test plan and test cases? Is that it? What a tester creates?
Yes, that is exactly like all these documents. Even effort estimation, we can just create a document, but that is not a standard document in any company. That can be informal as well. But test plan, test cases, and test environment setup also, they will have some standard policies that will be followed. But yeah, mainly test plan and test cases document. If in some companies test plan and test strategy are different, developing, there will be 2 different documents delivered. Test strategy.
So, just a general question. Do testers create test scripts and use cases? I've heard a lot of things about it.
Yeah.
So who creates these test scripts and use case and,
Yeah, let's see. Like use case is again one term. Till now, like we just say like requirements in the, okay, I'll go to previous slide. The first step is requirements, right? So use case is nothing but requirement. But that is the term used in agile methodology. Companies who are following agile methodology, they'll be using terms like use cases for requirements. So
and what about test scripts?
Yeah, 1 minute. The requirements will be captured as part of use cases. Okay. So the test scripts is used interchangeably with test cases. In some companies, they'll say test scripts. That's just the terminology. But in some other companies, or I can say most of the companies, they say test scripts for automated test cases.
Okay.
So we will write test cases, right? If we execute them manually, we say test cases. If we have to perform test automation, we have to automate such test cases using any particular tool, automation tool, then we say the automated test cases as test scripts.
Okay. And my second question is, when you say static testing is finding defects in a document, so as a tester, what kind of document do you review to find a bug or a defect in it? What document are you referring that?
Yeah, again, like as I said previously, testers will be involved right from the beginning, right? So even we will be given chance to review the requirements document coming from the clients, and then even the functional specification documents developed by the developers. Developers will get the requirements from the BA, and then they will develop the functional specifications which clearly explain how it works and all. So even that documents we'll be reviewing, and along with them, this test plan and test cases will be like whoever our peers might have developed that, so we'll be reviewing that as well.
Okay, got you.
All these documents will be reviewing. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Then, yeah, we'll proceed with the test methodologies. Yeah. Test methodologies, as I already discussed, right? It's just a methodology which says in what order the phases should be followed. Phases should be taken place. All the activities we have discussed, right? Like requirements gathering, designing, development, testing. So all these activities, what should be the order of these activities will be decided by our test methodology. And the very old and traditional methodology is waterfall model. In this model, all the activities will be carried out sequentially. Like first requirement analysis will be done. Then only designing will be done. Then only like development will take place. Once complete development is done, then only testing will take place. Like this model, this model says that all the activities will be carried on sequentially. And again, the main difference between waterfall and agile is waterfall model, complete product will be taken from the client and complete designing will be done, complete development of complete product will be done, then passed on to next phase. But coming to agile model, the whole functionality will be broken down into small pieces, small modules of functionality will be decided upon, and all these activities will be started parallelly for all the modules. So in this way, the customer will have some product at the very early stage itself, rather than just say like our functionality of some software, it will take 2 months to develop. So, okay, the designing phase only happens for 1 month. Development will have to wait till the designing phase is complete. And testing has to wait till the development is complete. Not just 2 months, let's say it's 12 months. So, the customer has to wait for 12 months for the product. But if you see the agile model, the functionality will be divided into like 10 modules, let's say. So, each module will be taken and all the phases will be carried out. So now our time has been decreased to 1/10, right? So the customer can be able to see the product in almost in 1 month. In only 1 month he will be able to see something, and based on his feedback we can correct it if any mistakes are there. So this is the main advantage of agile model, but yeah, we'll be discussing these models also clearly in our training plan. Any questions in methodologies? Yeah, we'll be discussing. It's
I have
not
one question again. Sorry,
Yeah, no.
Balwinder here again. Okay, you have experience in agile model?
Yes.
Okay, for example, you are in the requirement gathering and you have been participated as a tester and you listen to requirements, and by mistake you don't analyze, or you as a tester you don't give inputs, okay, and later on things just went wrong, or they thought, so does the blame come on the tester? Like generally I've heard business analyst is the person who's responsible for all the things, but because as you are saying that even the tester analyze a lot of things.
Yeah, right.
So what is the pressure like? It is a lot of pressure, or
As we
who is
said,
the person to blame?
yeah, if you ask specifically person to blame, yeah, that is based on the responsibility, right? So testers will be involved from the beginning, but your requirements analysis will be done mainly by the business analyst. Testers will be involved, but they're not the main person. They will be starting their documents. I mean, they'll be starting their test planning at that time. But they are not the main person. But if you take in some companies, there will not be different people working as a business analyst and tester. There will be like single person working for both. Then he is the responsible. So, but yeah, as you asked specifically, it will be the duty of the business analyst, because business analyst role or responsibility is just that, gathering and analyzing the requirements and communicating them to the other stakeholders involved in the project, will be developers or testers. Testers will be part of the team from the beginning, but it's not their whole responsibility, or yeah, as you asked specifically directly, the blame won't go to the
Okay, got you. Thank you.
no problem. Yeah. Then like gives different types of testing here. So all of these will be covering with, I think, yeah, we have a little bit of time left. I'll just go over like what all will be covering in our training plan. So all this, Okay, one point I missed is not just 2 models are there, not just waterfall and agile model. There are many more models, V model, spiral model, all these more. We'll be covering all of them in our training plan as well, along with these two. So, along with the different types of testing, like black box testing is the testing performed by all of us will be the black box. Black box is nothing but, yeah, we have the system ready, we know how it should work, and we will test if it is working that way or not. We don't know, we are not bothered about how it is built inside, how the code is written. So that is black box. From the name, it is like black. We cannot see through it. We just know what is the input and we know what should be the output. So based on that, we'll go over the testing. But if we see the white box testing, I'm sorry, can all of you mute your systems? It is like a little bit of disturbance is coming. Yeah. So this white box testing is testing the complete structure of the code. This is mainly done by the developers. They will know what they have written, right? So they will just test the software just to ensure that each code flow is being covered or not. That is the main purpose of white box testing, and that will be carried out by the developer. And if you see the functional and non-functional testing, functional is if it is functioning to non-functional, there are many more non-functional aspects for any application like performance, speed, load testing, stress testing. All these testing also should be done. But yeah, in current industry, there are different like roles are split properly, and there are functional testers and non-functional testers. And each of these non-functional testing area will be discussing clearly. Along with that, smoke testing, component integration. Yeah, I'll be running through all of these types of testing we'll be discussing in our training course clearly. Along with that, we'll be going over the defect management as well. So in the STLC process, software test lifecycle process, once the execution is done, the following activity is defect management. Once the execution of test cases is done, they found some defects, then how it should go through. That will be defined as part of defect lifecycle. And this will be covering. I'm just wrapping it out because yeah, I want you to know like what all we cover in our training plan. And then yeah, as I already said, 2 tools we'll be discussing. One is test management tool and the other one is test automation tool. The test management, there are many products in the industry like that. We will be focusing on HPQC. Its new version is called HPALM. It's just a management tool. I want you to understand like test management is, it's not any automation. We'll not execute anything in this tool. This is the tool just used to just manage our test cases. In any company, they'll not simply store all the documents simply in some folders and all. They'll follow or they'll implement some tool and they'll follow that tool to properly manage all the test cases, test plans, everything will be stored in this tool. This is the tool used for that, managing the stuff. Even the execution will be doing apart from this tool, but all the execution results will be maintaining in this tool. So using this tool has the capability to build the reports, efficient reports, accurate reports based on the data available in this. So this will be very useful for the management. We'll be discussing in detail like how to, in this tool we can write the test cases in the tool itself, or we can write in the Excel documents and we can upload them into the tool, which is a common approach followed outside. They'll develop the test cases in Excel documents and they'll upload it in this case and maintain them. So we'll be discussing and we'll do hands-on practice. I'll show clearly like, and I'll let you do as well. And again, the test automation, like we'll be discussing in our training sessions, what is automation and why it is necessary, like what all factors we should consider. We should not blindly go with automation in every scenario. There are many factors to decide whether to go for automation or not. All such factors will be discussed, and then automation lifecycle, just like our SDLC and STLC, will be discussing the automation lifecycle as well, and we'll be seeing many automation tools. In detail, we'll be discussing one automation tool, but I will make you understand about the all other automation tools, like as I said, performance, functional, different types of testing are there, and different tools are there to reach. So I'll be make you understand tools in the market and which for what. And then in detail, as I said, we'll be focusing in about test automation tool. This is one functional automation tool by this hardware company. It measures can be followed for automation, and this tool has the capability of all of them, like playback. We can write scripts in the tool, or we can manually create the scripts using some abilities of the tool. So this tool can be used to automate desktop applications, web application, or mobile application. It has the capability, and JavaScript is the language used for this tool, used by this tool commonly. It has the anyone who knows VB script, C#. This tool has the capability of developing scripts in all of these languages, but most commonly used is JavaScript. So, any questions till now? Yeah, I think this is all what I want to cover. And all of these I've just given overview of all the topics. We'll be discussing in detail of every test plan, test case document, and what different test activities, defects, all the tools, what I have mentioned in the scope. So then, yeah, any questions? Along with that, we'll be discussing the interview questions as well. In every class, what could be asked in that class, that session's content. Yeah. If there are no more questions, we can wind up. Madhu?
Hey Vidya.
Yeah, do you want to add anything? We are covered pretty much what we decided on.
No, actually, students, do you have any questions? Thank you, Vidya. I think they're all okay. If you have any questions, I'll get back to you on this. Thank you for the presentation, Vidya.
Sure. Thank you, Madhu. And thank you.